A woman wakes up next to her husband. She looks around the room, confused. "Where are we going?" she asks him. "To the doctor," he replies. "You fell yesterday." As she is wheeled into the hospital, the clock ticks. She will have this conversation again and again and again. In fact, she will have this exact conversation once per minute. This is the story of a woman whose brain rebooted every 60 seconds. Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm your host. Today, we are reading about a patient from Oregon, a 37-year-old school teacher named Annie. Annie led a normal life. She was married. She didn't smoke or drink. She didn't have any neurological issues, and she wasn't on any medications. She was known around town for her sharp memory. If you met her 10 years ago, chances are she would remember your birthday, your favorite color, and your children's names. When she was younger, she would beat her classmates playing the game Concentration. People would get frustrated because she could recall where everything was. She loved hiking on mountain trails, reciting poetry to her husband, and sipping wine on Sunday mornings while watching football. Annie's mind was her strength until one morning it began to vanish. Every single minute, it began suddenly. She asked her husband, "Where are we going?" "To the doctor." "You fell yesterday." 1 minute later, "Where are we going?" "To the doctor." "You fell yesterday." This cycle repeated itself over and over again. Annie couldn't retain anything for more than 60 seconds. So she started writing things down on sticky notes. She would write a question and then immediately forget what she had just written. She would hold up the note to her husband and ask, "What does this mean?" He would read it to her, and then she would forget again. Her husband tried video messages, voice notes, even a written journal, but nothing stayed. She would forget who she just called, what she had for breakfast, that her parents had passed away. Each minute was a reset, a loop she couldn't escape. She was hospitalized. A CT scan showed no signs of bleeding or masses. An MRI came back clean. There were no signs of a stroke, no evidence of head trauma, and she showed no signs of seizure on EEG. The doctors were baffled. Some suspected psychological causes, others worried about early onset dementia or some rare form of epilepsy. Annie's chart became thicker, but her memory thinner. Every test said she was fine, but her mind was fading minute by minute. Her husband began to grieve someone who is still alive. How do you mourn the loss of someone who isn't dead? He wondered if she would ever come back to him, or was he destined to spend the rest of his life speaking into a void? One evening, Annie wandered outside at night. She forgot where she was going or why. The police found her miles away, crying, barefoot, holding a note to herself. "Your name is Annie. You're safe. Don't panic." It was like watching someone drown, but above water. The neurologist later wrote in her chart, within 60 seconds, she would forget the panic she felt, the walk she took, the rescue. Each minute she lost was a victory for the darkness. It was trying to consume her whole. She couldn't be left alone. She would pace her home saying over and over, "Did I do something wrong?" Her voice would break with each repetition. "Did I do something wrong? Did I do something wrong? Did I do something wrong?" Finally, the family got a call. A rare neurologist was available to see her. He was an expert in memory disorders. He had a hunch. After examining Annie, he noticed two things. First, there were subtle patterns to her movements, slight eye movement anomalies. Second, there was a specific timing to her memory resets. The clock ticked. She would ask a question, receive an answer, then wait exactly 60 seconds before asking again. This cycle continued until the doctor stopped the clock. He put her on anticonvulsants, and within days, the loop started to stretch. 60 seconds became 2 minutes, then 5, then 10. One day she went a whole hour without losing her memory. Then the pattern started to normalize. She would lose small chunks of time, a few seconds here, a few minutes there. Eventually, she regained some continuous memory. Gaps remained, but she was able to string together full days, then weeks, then months. So what is this rare neurological phenomenon? NT, tiny seizures, sometimes invisible on standard tests, interrupt the hippocampus, the part of the brain that stores short-term memories. It's like a recorder that resets before it can press save. Symptoms include memory loss, confusion, disorientation, and sometimes even changes in mood or behavior. It's rare, often misdiagnosed, and sometimes completely curable with the right treatment. Annie survived a living limbo, a prison of 60 seconds. But how many others are still stuck, still forgotten by their own minds, every minute of every day? Thank you so much for watching. That was a very scary story, but it was also very interesting. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe and leave us a comment below. We look forward to hearing what you think.